The Gospel of Gold by G.S. Lewis. Chapter 39, Double Cross. "I'll take the perp from here," said the redhead casually to her partner, grabbing Gold by the shoulder and steering him toward the elevator. "See if you can get an eventual statement from the gym leader, would you? This din's too much for me." For a second, Gold was tempted to wrench free of her hold, make a dash for Amphi's body, and attempt a healing without his hands. But for a woman, the redhead's grip was incredibly strong as she forced him into the elevator. And besides, it was now obvious that this had all been a setup. Even if he resurrected Amphi's corpse before their very eyes, they would still have found means to arrest him. Nevertheless, as soon as the doors snapped shut, Gold sorely regretted his hesitation. He should have just done it anyway. That had been the whole point. The elevator began to descend, and Jasmine's lamentations faded away. Gold stared bitterly at the leftover potion in his captor's hand, and outward resentment mixed with his self-loathing. "Did her suffering really bother you?" he asked. The woman glanced down at him. "What?" "Jasmine's," clarified Gold, as if it wasn't clear. "You deceived me, gave me a potion that you knew would kill the Pokemon she cared for, and then just let things play out," he snapped. "All to get at me. Well, you've got me, so you don't have to lie anymore. Are you actually troubled by the suffering you cause?" The elevator stopped as they reached the bottom, and the doors opened to an empty room, save for one visitor who looked their way. The redhead escorted Gold out into the air, but muttered a reply as she did so, soft enough so that only he could hear. "I don't think you get it, baby," she whispered. "I simply don't like it when a bleeding heart interferes with necessary operations. I can't believe they've still retained Jasmine after all her shows of weakness." She put a wrist to her eye to wipe away a fake tear, and her voice turned high and mocking. "Boo-hoo! There's a sick Pokemon at the lighthouse. I have to ditch my gym leader duties so I can take care of it." The woman snorted. "Just let the sick Pokemon go. A Pokemon that can't battle is worthless. When we eventually wean the League off the use of Pokemon centers, it will finally be only the strong who survive." At that, Gold stared up at her. "You're not a cop," he breathed. "And you're certainly no pharmacist. You're a rocket." "Rocket executive," she corrected him, head tilted up proudly. "Ariana, the one who got Gold when Proton and Archer couldn't." They were marching across the port towards town. No other ship had come in to collect or drop off passengers, so there was only a small collective of people still around. A couple glanced curiously at the sight of an officer marching a juvenile in cuffs, but nobody was within earshot. Gold knew he ought to be thinking about where Ariana was taking him, but he would find out soon enough. For the present, she seemed to be in a talkative mood. "They're dead, you know," he said. "Both of them." Ariana gave him a passing, inquisitive look. "Really? Archer too?" she asked, almost conversationally. "I heard how that dimwit Proton blew himself up, but how'd Archer kick it? I'll bet it was Lance who did him in." Even after all his other encounters with his enemies, Gold never ceased to be amazed by the sheer callousness of Team Rocket. He didn't answer her question, but shook his head slowly. "I don't understand how you people can be so cold towards one another. I thought you were supposed to be a team." The redhead rolled her eyes. Do you actually think I like any of the people I'm forced to work with? We recruit members with bribes, pay them to steal, and blackmail them if they try to leave. It doesn't make for the best colleagues." She grimaced deeply. "I wouldn't even be here if not for a mistake I made 12 or so years back." At that, Ariana suddenly jerked straighter upright, as if she'd caught herself saying something aloud that she hadn't meant to. Gold kept his expression carefully neutral, and after a moment, his captor shrugged it off, like nothing strange had been said. "It doesn't matter. I don't care for the methods, but I can't argue with the results." She smiled resentfully. "Besides, for all I know, everyone else is a robot or a delusion, and I'm the only real person on Earth. Let them do what they're going to do, as long as I get what I want." They had arrived at a distinctive building, not a police station, but the Olivine City Pokemon Gym. It had the simplistic design of a trapezoidal prism, and seemed to be covered by layers of overlapping steel. If not for the sign outside that designated it as an official league gym, Gold would have thought it to be an escape-proof holding pen. He certainly didn't rule the possibility out. Executive Ariana gave Gold a look, plainly warning him not to do anything stupid. She released hold of him long enough to open the doors and peek inside. She called, "I'm here!" in a loud whisper, to which Gold heard a muffled, echo-distorted reply. He could not determine the words, but the voice had been male. Ariana glanced back at Gold, and he saw from her expression that she was somewhat perturbed. Whatever the plan was, something had apparently gone differently than expected. Still, the rocket leader took Gold under the arm and pulled him into the gym before locking the doors behind them. Turning, she glared at the man on the center floor, whom Gold was now staring at. From his cross-legged sitting position, he rose, hovered off the floor, tilting his head upward to view his company through the lenses of the black mask on his face. It was Will, the master psychic and vanguard of the Elite Four. A pregnant pause filled the room as Will seemed to study them from a distance. Gold suddenly felt something foreign stir in his head, and images of acquaintances came to his mind. Jasmine, Chuck and his wife, Karen, Spirit, Silver, and even Kamen. At the same moment, Ariana broke the silence with an angry shout. "Knock that off, you molesting creep! My thoughts are private, and none of your business!" At her rebuke, Gold felt the odd influence vanish, and Will drew back, looking abashed. Or at least, his body language showed as much. The mask made his face nearly unreadable. "Forgive me, but in this circumstance, they are my business," he said in an elegant voice. "You are, of course, correct to wonder why it is I and not Karen standing here now. Circumstances change. It is why we psychics cannot see terribly far into the future." Ariana cut him off with a contemptuous laugh. "Obviously not, or you would have found time to clue me in just a little earlier." She flicked her wrist dismissively. "Let's skip the excessive monologue, thespian. Just spit it out. Why isn't your boss here?" These two are acting really familiar, Gold thought. How long have they been working together? "Has Petrol told you nothing?" replied Will, apparently unruffled by Ariana's bluntness. "Lance just released another video. Shortly after, he appeared in Blackthorn City. It's his last stop before the Indigo Plateau. Either we go to him, or he comes to us." "So?" asked Ariana, unimpressed. Between you three remaining elites, crushing him should take nothing. We've seen the truth of that already in the Mahogany Hideout. Hurry up and get to the part about Karen. Karen is all about the appeal of image, said Will, with slightly less patience. If I simply tell you that she was too busy to meet you in person, you will not accept it. But you must understand that, in the court of public opinion, image is everything. This isn't like last time, when Lance charged headlong into your hideout, and you managed to take him down secretly. This time, he has people following him with camera phones, taping his every move. And, by extension, his encountered foes. Will crossed his arms. How would the people react to a ganging up of 3 against 1? Or what would they think if Petrel, in his Lance getup, was called out to battle by the real thing? You know he can't command dragons, no matter how many Team Rocket has to lend him. Aha, thought Gold. So this Petrel guy is the fake Lance. Ariana made an impatient noise, but said nothing. Will smiled grimly. These are the dilemmas that Karen's mind is busy with at the moment. Hence, my presence here. The Rocket executive huffed. It sounds like you have enough know-how in public relations to handle that task yourself. Not so. Will shook his head and motioned to the suit he was wearing. Gold had not paid much mind to it before, but the psychic elite was spiffily dressed, suit and tie on top, and imperial red pants below. This show of flamboyance is by Karen's choice, a memorable first impression for her Elite Four. These words I speak are not but articulations of Karen's own thoughts. I am virtually an extension of Karen. That is part of the deal I made before I was accepted into the elites. Public image is not my thing.